Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922, just did Data Live. Oh god, that was a fucking fuckfest. This one was pretty crazy too. Gargantia. Gargantia on the Verdurous planet. Episode 7, review, A Soldier's Fate. Now, this one was kind of weird for me because as I was watching the episode, I thought to myself, I don't know. It was one of those episodes where a conflict arises, and this conflict was pretty intense to a very sort of to that extent, because basically from last week's episode we ended it with kind of like a cliffhanger. And this was realized in last week's episode that Redo, when it concerns of creatures like octopus and squid, he believes it to be the enemy of his world. That's what he believes. So basically what happened in this episode, The Soldier's Fate, he basically has the intention of saying that I'm a soldier, that is what I do, I fight, I, go war, a lot of that jazz. And basically what happened in the beginning of this episode was he fought this thing who he believed to be the enemy from his world, which at the moment I don't know the name of that enemy. Let me just see something. Okay, the enemy, I forgot the name of it. It was the Hez something? Really hard to say the name of the enemy that he was fighting in his home world. Yeah, I forgot the name of it specifically. He called the Heads, it was a very complicated name. Anyway, that's what he thinks what is known as a whale squid is, but isn't. So, even though Bellows is there with him, and she tells him not to fight it, he fights it anyway, and he ends up killing it. He basically just grabs it, and Bellows tries to stop him, says, no, don't do it. And just squeezes it, just kills it. Just cuts all over the place on him. I'm like, what, fried calamari? Pretty much, but that's what it was. But basically, yeah, whale squid, more or less, from what I understand in this show, to people on Gargantia, the Gargantia ships, they revere it as a kind of god or something. It was very strange. Oh, and they shouldn't attack it. Now, even though Bellows and the Rigid, that's the one with the purple hair, second in command of the ships, were basically saying to Redo, you shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 blah. Because what ended on happening was people on the ships had a negative thought process on that, saying that he shouldn't have done that, because then you're gonna get the wrath of the whale squids. And basically, when they come back to the ship, he's covered with squid guts. And we see Pinion, and Pinion, the guy with the maintenance guy, blonde hair, he was smiling evilly, like he wants to use Redo and Chambers for this supposed thing that he wants them to do. So what ends up happening is the fleet commander's talking to everybody about the situation and how they're going to deal with this with him and everything. And there are a few people on the ship who are blaming him that because of him he got here and everything. And that little jazz. So Redo, we see Redo, and he takes pieces of the squid guts and he puts it in this tube and puts it inside a chamber. And Chamber basically is going to analyze the genetic material of the squid, the whale squid, and determine if it's similar to the enemy that he's faced. Now, this whole episode kind of irked me in a way, because what I don't understand is how these whale squids have the same genetic material, the same kind of biology as the squids that he fought in space. I mean, they look the same and everything, but it doesn't add up because, it just didn't add up to me. But hey, that's what the conclusion that was came towards this. And later when the genetic material is analyzed, but Chambers basically tells him the biology of both of this and our enemy is the same. There's no difference. And he refers to a concept on Earth, not in an alliance at the alliance, but on Earth, which is coexistence. So that's basically what he was told about it. And what ends on happening is Pinion, then later in the episode, first we'll get into Pinion. Pinion starts talking to these guys and saying, oh, you saw what happened with the alien and his robot. We could use that to attack the whale squids and get what's underneath there, which is basically treasure. He wants to go in there and use Redo to kill all the whale squids and get the treasure. And after that scene, we have a scene with Redo and our Amy's brother and Amy. And he's still going on about attacking them and destroying them and all this stuff. And she's like, you shouldn't do that. Amy's barking orders about it. And her brother, he's like saying to him they won't attack you if you just go out. If you leave them alone, they'll leave us alone kind of mentality. But he's not having it because he doesn't understand Redo. And this is the whole point of this show. Redo doesn't understand these people. He doesn't understand Earth. Because the entire time when he was living, the only thing he knows is war. So it's like, like the whole, just I said before when I started reviewing this show, stranger in a strange land. Yeah. And that's basically what happened there. And then he walks out of the room and he's all upset about it. And he says he doesn't know any other way than that. After that, we have a tense conversation between Pinion and Bellows. Now, Bellows is telling him, this confrontation, saying, don't use Redo for your own good, for your own evil intentions, and saying that, the few don't make up the greater good, all that other jazz. And he's saying that he wouldn't be able to get revenge for his brother. And I don't understand that. Maybe it's because of the whale squids. I have no idea. But that ends there. What ends on happening later on is there's a conversation between Pinion and one of the commanders of the fleet. Not the fleet commander, one of the other commanders. And they're plotting, so to speak. And what ends on happening later on after that situation is the thing where there's a pod of whale squids showing up. And what happens is the fleet commander decides, okay, we got to shut off everything, turn everything off so it doesn't alert them. And that's when Redo decides, oh, I'm going to go into the ship, into Chambers, to go and attack them. And Amy's in the way, and she's like, don't go out there! She's like saying all that stuff. And after that scene, we get Bridget. She shows up again, the one with purple hair. And she's saying that as long as they're not attacking us, I'm putting you on a short leash. You're not going out there. And she stops them. And then what ends up happening is squids leave. Everything's okay. And he's basically stating after that, he states that the only thing I know how to do is fight. And if I can't do that here, I'm going to leave. And she's like, Redo. And she's making a face, Amy. I'm like, first of all, she has the mentality, Amy, that he's gonna stay. That's not happening, lady. I don't know. It's kind of weird because she's like thinking he's gonna stay. He's not staying. This isn't his home. Like, what planet are you from? Duh. But this results, after this scene, results in something else. And we finally find out what it is. Pinion, he apparently went behind Bellow's back and everyone else's back and made a deal with one of the fleet commanders. And he wants to take Redo to attack the whale squids and to, expose the treasure that's there. And the fleet commander's like, no, you're not doing this. This isn't. He's infatuated of saying that, no, you're not going to do this. Because you can't. Because then they're going to be defenseless. That whole jazz. And apparently, when he says no to him, the fleet commander says no to this guy who's with Pinion, he gets like a heart attack, and that's when the episode ends. So overall, this gets a 4 out of 5. This episode, I like what's going on here. No fan service in this episode, which was it wasn't neat. This was high impact action, and I can see a few things happening here. I mean, maybe what might happen is next week, Redo will, I don't know, we have to see. I gotta wonder what Redo's gonna do, because it seems like he's in a pulling war now. Because now Pinion wants to take him and to destroy these squids so he can get treasure. But, it's gonna cause a lot of problems. So, and it's kind of weird because the whole gist is that they're going to tear the fleet apart from the Gargantia. They're going to have one ship just go somewhere else and attack the whale squids with Redo's help. So you got to wonder what that's going to imply. And Amy, she's trying too hard. Amy, listen. Hey, come on. He's a soldier. You're not changing him. And that's the whole point of this, I think, show. That's the moral message, that Redo is a fighter. He's a soldier. He fights this enemy that he knows as the enemy of his homeland, and that's the only thing he knows how to do. But Amy's like, you shouldn't do that. You're trying. She's basically trying so hard to change him, but you can't. It's like a waste of time. It's like, but that's what he's trying. That's what is being initiated into him. Trying to be the moral of the story of this anime. It's trying to get him to learn to coexist, to learn to not fight. But yeah, this episode is going in a good direction. Gotta wait and see what happens next week, because I guess they're probably going to try to get him on board to go and kill the whale squids. And then maybe, because then we have, because there's a lot of things going on right now. There's that while the fleet commander gets a fucking heart attack, And I think it's going to be where Redo is going to go with those guys and try to attack the whale squids. So yeah, that's probably what's going to go down. We'll see. But that's what I got for you guys. So yeah, this is Bonkai 922. I'll see you guys later. Redo he's a soldier, man. You can't change him, Amy. Back off. Back off. That's the way I look at it. Tell me what you guys think. Comments below. Rate, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.